Welcome to The Shoreline, brought to you by Shores and Islands, Ohio, where finding your Lake Erie love is a sure thing. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Jill Bauer, PR Manager for Shores and Islands, Ohio. We bring you The Shoreline every week to give you the inside scoop on what's happening here in our island and coastal communities. Welcome back to another fantastic week on the north coast of Ohio. I've been covering a lot of fall events lately, and I wanted to point those that are interested in checking out some of our big September and October events to check out our Lake Erie Love blog. I know I tell you every week to go to the events calendar, but now I'm pointing you to the blog because we've got a great overview there of all of the major September and October events. So you just go to shoresandislands.com, click on the blog tab at the top. You can find that post there, and also you'll find other fun stories and trip inspiration there. Speaking of trip inspiration, another fun spot to check out on our website is the itineraries page. To find that one, you click on Plan Your Visit and then scroll down to itineraries that inspire. We've got 6 fun itineraries there to help you plan your upcoming visit. There's itineraries for girls' getaways, romantic getaways, family getaways, and more. And one that features all of the Shores and Islands' many different trails that you can do. So keep in mind, there's so much to do here year-round. We've got ideas for all types of audiences. Grab your friends, plan your next corporate retreat, invite your family reunion, or bring your sweetheart for a weekend away in Shores and Islands, Ohio. We've got a really fun episode today, a place that I have loved visiting the past couple of years. In this episode, we're going to step inside one of downtown Sandusky's most exciting destinations, Clubhouse No. 3 SportSocial. It's part sports bar, part interactive playground, and all about bringing people together. From golf simulators and high-speed racing rigs to interactive darts, shuffleboard, pizza, and drinks, it's a space where competition meets connection. Joining us today is Maxx Tamburino, one of the visionaries behind the SportSocial concept. We're going to learn why it all started and why Sandusky was the perfect place to launch their business, and how Clubhouse No. 3 is changing the way people play, eat, and socialize here in Sandusky. So welcome to the Shoreline, Maxx.
Thanks for having me, Jill.
Of course. So I want to know a little bit on the background. What inspired? I know that you are in business with your brother. Is that correct?
Yep, that is correct.
So what inspired you to create Clubhouse No. 3?
That's a great question. As you start to look for a business idea, you need to find typically a problem or something to fill or an issue, and you come up with a solution. And one of my favorite things to do is to entertain people, as well as our family. We are a big family and always sports oriented. So one of the things was downtown Sandusky was missing a relatively large space in a sports bar. And we started to think about how to fill that void by doing what we did with all the simulators, bar, and space that we provide. I think we did a really good job of coming up with that.
Well, so talk a little bit about the history of the building that you are in. How did you end up in that building, and how did you know that was going to be the perfect space for your, visions?
Yeah, that's a great question too. We were searching downtown for a while. There's limited space available. A lot of places are smaller, and we just wanted to find something. It really started with the simulators, and my dad knew one of the owners here at the building, and ultimately just had a conversation to know if there was any space in here, because he had knew how big it was, but nothing was in it. And so we ended up having a conversation about walking through it, and it was amazing because this whole entire winery building that's, 1800s, the space that we're specifically leasing is all concrete for the barrel storage that used to be the winery. And it probably brings most of our character, and the reason why people come in is because it is such a cool and so much character to the building, and allows us to expand because it's so large.
And that was the E&K winery historically, right?
E&K winery, one of the largest east of the Mississippi at one point. I've heard it was probably the 3rd largest east of the Mississippi. And that's kind of, some of those things play into our name, if you ever ask that question too.
That's coming later.
Yeah. The number 3 comes with a little bit from that. There was the ownership of them. They were a family that owned it. The number 3 kept showing up when we were around the building with paintings and such. So that winery had a big impact on this area as well.
And do you know historically, like, so what other things have been in that building between the time of the winery and your guys taking it over?
I know of a few different bars. A couple of the really great bar owners downtown Sandusky, I've heard, have owned different bars in this space as well, especially the basement that we just revamped. I don't know of too much more before that. I hear stories all the time.
People probably come in and say, I used to come here when, or
Yes.
my parents used to hang out here.
Yeah, a lot of businesses started in the space that we've redone, and it's crazy to think that at one point it was almost nothing, and it was really, I mean, we had to rehab it all, but to think that 30, 40, 50 years ago, a lot of these places in here were different bars or restaurants. And then they turned to storage.
It had sat empty for a while, is that?
Yeah, at least 15 years since the last bar was in here.
Okay, so you guys had a lot of work to do when you took over, but that's a good thing. You had a clean slate, right?
Yeah, and that's what the whole concrete portion of it is great, because you wipe it clean, you put everything in there and start painting, and it looks like a whole new space.
Well, and now you have multiple floors as well.
We do. We started with the first floor being the second floor story, I guess. That was the easiest to gut and make sure that there was no water damage or anything like that. And when we just started doing it with everything, with the simulators, the darts, it just became its own identity of a really cool sports bar. And so then we found that we needed more space, because this time of the year, starting now, all these football games, all these events, we just had a full venue, one floor event this Saturday. And to have that go on downstairs, that we just revamped to do a whole nother bar and still be able to be open to the public upstairs, was phenomenal.
Oh, wow.
And then we added a pizza joint and partnered with a local food truck there. Archie's Pizza was amazing, St. Louis style pizza. Partnered with them. They're in the back, right off of the back parking lot. They do a fantastic job with everything. And it's just been a great overall experience for all three floors, I guess, different spaces.
There's that number 3 again.
Yep. At least right now, for sure. There'll probably be more, but yeah.
Well, let's go back to the name then. So Clubhouse number 3, SportSocial.
Yep.
What does it all mean?
My cousin is a really good designer out of Denver, and he's really good with finding names and purpose and meaning behind everything. And so Clubhouse is golf oriented, which we started with golf simulators.
Okay.
And so that was a pretty easy one there, but it's also kids kind of build places to play. We call them clubhouses. And so that's kind of this identity here is, this is an adult space to have fun, and family friendly, obviously, with all the things that we do. We do a lot of kids parties, but definitely wanted to keep it golf oriented with that little piece of whatever we add here. It's still going to be entertainment. And so then the number 3 comes in off of that. And I've already spoke a little bit about that. There's 3 of us owners, main owners, but my whole family has helped us with everything. So we just kind of brought all those things together. And when we looked at the name and identity of this place, that's what we wanted to identify it as.
What does the SportSocial? Yeah, because I always see it as one word.
Well, you see a lot of places called lounges and socials, and there's an Erie social nearby. I know that. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of these places are becoming less of a restaurant and more of a place to do things and have fun. And so the SportSocial is just combining those 2 words and coining it to be a SportSocial place instead of a lounge social or a speakeasy kind of vibe. So
yeah, well, that's very cool. So you guys have golf simulators, interactive darts, shuffleboard, racing games. How do you decide what activities you're going to bring into your space?
That's a great question too. I knew a lot about golf simulators. I did a lot of research. This area loses its fun, I guess, when it gets cold around here in October.
I know what you mean.
All the golfers in this area, there's a good amount of them. And so, right. With one other place in town, I think it provides a great entertainment space for that. But then ours are not only golf. We utilize all the other sports on there. There's tons of them. And that's what really brings in the families and identity for us versus just a golfing bar.
So there's so many things to do there. All ages can play. It definitely fills a need that wasn't in downtown Sandusky. There were places to eat, but there wasn't anything to do.
Yeah.
And I think that you really fill that niche.
Yeah, I had bartended at a place down the street, and that was kind of like the sports bar, I guess, tavern. And ultimately, that was still more of a place to eat. And, if you stayed too long without eating, you kind of felt like, it's time to go. And for this place to kind of have a different identity on that, and you can stay for 6 hours. Nobody cares. It's a lot of fun.
And you have a lot of TVs, so you've got all the games on. And so you've got the element where, yes, you can eat, yes, you can drink, yes, you can play, yes, you can watch the game. And of course, you can just socialize too and hang out.
100%. And you can bring parties. That's another thing that was hard to do, is you have to rent out an entire place if you want to have a party of 40, because a lot of places are small, and 40 people is pretty easy for us to accommodate really quickly.
Oh, that's good to know. So if somebody's never been to Clubhouse number 3, they're walking in for the first time, what kind of experience do you hope that they'll have when they visit?
Just the wow factor of how big it is and how easy it is to enjoy yourself with a group of 4, 6, 8, 10, and enjoy the sports atmosphere. There's always something going on. There's always games on. There's games that you can play. And ultimately, we just want people to feel like it's a welcoming space for everybody. We're here to drink and have fun, yes, but the socializing and meeting people, I think, is one of my favorite things to see as well.
So let's talk a little bit about the fee structure. How does that work? I know when you visit, you can basically rent out a bay. Yep.
So we call them the sports simulator bays. Those are by the hour, whether it's $40 to $60 an hour.
Okay.
Just depends on Monday through Saturday night kind of thing.
And there's multiple games in the bay.
Yeah, you rent it up for an hour. The whole family or group can be on that for the hour or more. Multiple games. It's all touch screen. You can operate it yourselves. You can ask for help if you need it. We kind of have some menus that kind of line them out. But these full swing multi-sport simulators are great. With a whole menu, whether it's a 6-year-old playing dodgeball or a group of 40-year-olds playing golf just like they wanted to outside. It's one of the best experiences for golf as well. So it's just got something for everybody. They're really built for residential. They're really nice houses to have them in their basement for entertainment, but we brought them in here so everybody can kind of enjoy a nice house too.
And for those that don't understand the simulator concept, you mentioned dodgeball. You have actual balls. And You're throwing the ball at the screen or at the people on the screen.
Yep, that is correct.
And it's being recorded. Is it like touch sensitive or how does it?
It's all camera-based systems. So whether it's the golf ball going past all 4 sensors or the other balls going past all 4 camera sensors, it's just reading the direction, the speed, everything about the ball, and it's correlating it with the game that's on the screen. And they are really cool. I mean, throwing football, kicking soccer ball, dodgeballs, there's bocce, there's knocking over bottles. It's all virtual, but it's just like the arcade games maybe at the local arcades where you throw it into the screen and it's projecting it onto the screen of what you just threw. And it just makes it a lot of fun, I think. There's a lot of different games, so you don't get bored with one of them. And it's sometimes, I think the best part is when people are drinking and having fun, it's just fun to socialize about somebody doing something, somebody trying to show off, or somebody not being so great at something.
Little friendly competition.
It's always fun to watch, and it gets me laughing on nights where people are just having fun because you can get a kick out of a lot of people doing their own thing on those.
So, outside of those simulator bays, if you want other games that are more hands-on, you've got darts and the tabletop shuffleboard. And then as part of the expansion you were talking about, you just put in some racing simulators. Talk about those.
When we first opened, we didn't have too much other than the sports simulators. We found a need for something a little bit less intense, I guess. And darts, pool tables, things like that always come to mind. However, we didn't want to just have regular darts. We're all about technology here and how we can bring that to fruition.
Your dart games are so fun.
They are. I love them. It's all camera-based systems again, and the screen will project up on the screen what you need to do, and then you hit it on the dartboard, and all these different games show up on the TVs. I know Dave & Buster's have had their own, so if anybody's used to Dave & Buster's, these are just the same, if not better in our eyes. And so we found a company that brings all of that together, and we have 4 of them. So you can either rent 2 at a time next to each other, or you can rent 1 at a time. We have 4 of them. Those darts are fantastic. They really are. And we rent those out by the hour as well. And it's weekday is basically $20 an hour and $30 an hour for the weekend. So again, I think you can play up to 6 or 8 people comfortably in that space. And for that cheap of an hour, I think that's pretty good. That's only a couple dollars a head.
That's awesome. And then the racing simulators, how do those work?
The racing is very, very new to the U.S., honestly. We did our research and we almost flew over to, I think it was Paris or London, to do a bunch of more research, but we just decided that we were going to pull the trigger on a company that started here in the U.S., building the rigs. So these are professional grade racing rigs. And when I say that, it's the steering wheel, the actuators, the seat moves, the screens. There's 3 screens that come around. And when you get in these things, you feel so immersed into these cars. And the professional racers at one point during COVID had to use these because they couldn't race in person. So it was kind of started with that, is where everybody started to latch on and play these at home. And they might just have a $500 to $2,000 simulator at home. These are a little bit more than that. And what that brings to the table, though, is an experience that's completely different. There's 8 of them next to each other, so you can feel like you're racing in go-karts, down at like Goofy Golf and whatnot.
So you can race against your people next to you.
Yeah, you can be on the same course, on the same server, or you can race by yourself and do different things. We can download just about any car. We've put a Tesla truck on there. But most of the stuff is F1 or GT3. There's a couple different cars on there that you can race. But it's all software-based. So if you wanted to be put on a go-kart, I can make it do a go-kart. So it's a lot of fun.
Is that also an hourly rental, or how do those work?
We do those by the race currently. Okay. And a race is 20 minutes long. We find that that's a good time because some people think 20 minutes is quite a lot because it's pretty intense. But then you have your racers that really want to be on there for an hour and race for a long time. So we try to do some competition, some leaderboards, some tournaments, leagues. All of this stuff has leagues. I can tie all that back together.
Actually, it was going to be my next question, is because I see that on your website that you guys do a lot of leagues and tournaments and things like that. I'm guessing with all different kinds of sports.
I'm a person of events. I will run a tournament or a league or anything for anything. I don't care if it's cards or actual sports. I love to do it. And so everything's pretty much going to start here in October. So we're about a month away. The fall is typically a little harder for people to find it and come out because they're still having fun. They love this weather. But then come January to April, we do a whole nother session. So there's 2 sessions to attend, whether you're doing golf, whether you're doing racing. And then the darts are typically like a one-off deal of a tournament. But all the leagues are on our website, currently working on getting more and more people in here because it's just a lot of fun. Golfing on a Monday for me with all my buddies and everything, every single Monday, still through the winter, and being able to do it next to the bar and everything with the football on the TVs. That's completely a different experience than golfing outside. So it's a lot of fun.
Especially in January.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when you walk in and it's not cold out anymore and you're walking through the snow. You get in here, you have a good time for about 2 to 3 hours in one of those leagues. That's our goal, is just to have fun, see the same people, be social every week. Everybody has a different schedule, but we've kind of put something out there for everybody, whether it's Monday through Thursday, a Sunday, one-offs that you can show up every once in a while. You don't have to be in necessarily a league that would be every single week.
So you also mentioned earlier about kids' parties or families. So you have attractions for all ages. Are there like age requirements or weight requirements or anything like that for any of the games?
Well, I'd say the darts and the racing, you got to be probably close to 14. 12 is kind of pushing it, but some people are very capable. We like to monitor everything with the parents. Let's put the parents in charge. But
as it should be.
The racing is pretty intense, and you have to reach the titles. That's you have to be at least so tall for that. Driving is always a good experience, but probably close to 14 or 16. The darts, there's TVs around them. If they're capable and trustworthy, I've seen a lot of good 12-year-olds and 14-year-olds play darts. So typically we try to be lenient on it, but if you had to ask me, 16's a good age for both of those. Now the simulators with the sports, those are a little bit more friendly. The dodgeball, I've seen 4-year-olds play dodgeball. Oh. That's the stuff that we really have families do stuff on and push those for the kids, because those parties, you can rent 2 of them at a time. They're back to back. You can bring 20, 30 people in before you even have to do like an event with us. And an event would be renting out a very large space for a different price.
So if you were having a birthday party for, your 12-year-old or something like that, you could rent out 2 bays. And how many party attendees would you recommend?
I would say 20. Anything under 20, 25. The kids, they love it. It's kind of, you can't do it all at once. You kind of have to take turns. And sometimes if you have too many. Right.
There's too much standing around.
Yeah. But it's a great time. It gives everybody something to do. The parents are always watching and having fun with them as well. So we are adult forward. We always will tell people that, because sometimes it can get a little overwhelming. As a bar, you want to be cautious with the alcohol and everything like that. But we are definitely family friendly when it comes to all those games.
And as parents, your kids, if your kids are mature enough to handle things like that. And I'm guessing that you guys probably know the times, like maybe not during Monday Night Football, or maybe not when the Buckeyes are playing on a Saturday.
Exactly. It starts to get a little rowdy in here. And that's what we love to do first and foremost. And we love to fill all that other time. The Sports Force parks that came to town, it's huge for them to bring in a team and eat pizza, bring them all the way down here.
I was going to ask that if you are drawing anything from, Sports Force or the Cedar Point Sports Center, when those teams have that downtime between their actual games, they're coming in and playing with you.
Absolutely. I mean, I've had a lot of good experiences with a lot of teams. One specifically recently, they got a rain out and they loved it. They came in, I think they were out of Chicago. We set them all up. We took care of them. We basically made it an event, so they didn't even have to worry about too much. Gave him a price for everything, all inclusive. That way he didn't have to worry. It included pizza, included the games, the space, and they had a great time. I think it was even on like a Thursday or something like that too.
You mentioned the pizza, so talk a little bit more about that partnership, because Archie's just opened earlier this year.
January. Yep.
Yeah, okay. So earlier this year, they were a local food truck and still have a food truck. I've seen them out at different events. How did they come to want to be a part of your brick and mortar, and how has that been working out for you?
One, it's been fantastic. They started last year coming out as a food truck in front of our building. We didn't start with food for that reason. We wanted to kind of see how everything kind of works itself out. People weren't used to a bar like this or this big not having food, and they wanted to stay for longer and longer. These football games are a couple hours long, and we had them here a couple times out front, and it seemed to be that we had a record day at the same time they had a record day. So with that said, it was kind of, hey, we're about to call you, but then they actually reached out to us first and said, would you ever think about a brick and mortar or put us in your place? And we've had a couple different asks about that, but ultimately everybody knows pizza works well with big groups, and we're about big groups. So that's St. Louis style pizza. It's thinner, it's different. We always say it's a thin cracker-like crust with semi-sweet sauce and a Provel cheese, which is native to St. Louis. He grew up in St. Louis. And so it's not the typical mozzarella and the cheesy goodness that you'll find in this area. It's more that artisan style pizza where he can do a lot of different flavors with it. And it's really good. And we're expanding the menu as well, so everybody has a little something. So you're not always thinking pizza, but it is based around the good pizza.
And in general, what are your business hours, and does Archie's hours coincide with yours?
Yeah, they're pretty much the same. We try to do a couple hours outside of it for lunches and such, because the bar is typically 4 to 10:30 on weekdays. We always stay open past our hours if we are busy, of course, but 2 to midnight on Fridays and 11 on Saturdays till midnight, and 11 to 9 on Sundays. And Archie's Pizza is pretty much on that same schedule there now. We just find that it works best. They're kind of tucked away in downtown, but when people are here, they're busy as well.
They have like a separate entrance in the back.
They do.
Right?
Right off of, it's technically 120 Wayne Street, just behind the subway. It's off that parking lot that is public. And we're working on making it more accessible there and more seen. But it is off the street, and they have their own place. They have their own dining. You can go in there anytime that they're open and order and sit down. You can rent out their space and just do a pizza party. So it's kind of nice to have a separate bar. They don't have everything that we do behind the bar, alcoholic-wise. They do have some offerings. That way everybody can have a little something if they're just going in there for dinner. And they're doing pretty well with that, too. It's really nice.
And, of course, then you can get the Archie's Pizza upstairs as well. Delivered to your bay or brought to, go get it for your party.
They text you when it's ready. You go and grab it. You can order it online. We do DoorDash. Awesome. We kind of made it all. Make sure we cover that everybody can access it.
They also always have like a special flavor of the month. I know this month now they're promoting a collaboration with another downtown Sandusky restaurant.
That one might be my favorite one they've done so far.
Is it really? Yeah. So Wake Up and Waffle. We've had Wake Up and Waffle on the podcast before. You can go back and listen if you want to know all about the Liege waffles, the Belgian style. And now those Belgian style waffles are a part of an Archie's Pizza.
Yes. I don't know about you, but I grew up on Belgian waffles. My mom used to make them all the time. Oh. And so Wake Up and Waffles, obviously a great favorite. And to put those on the pizza with the chicken and waffles.
That's really unique.
If you listen to this and you haven't got one yet, you might want to go down and grab one this month in September. But yeah, he's been doing great pizza of the month, changing it up. Some of them may make it on the menu at some point.
That's what I was just going to say. If it's popular enough, you might convince him to bring it back.
I think I convinced him a couple times for menu items, like the barbecue chicken pizza is amazing. It's one of my favorites. Chicken bacon ranch. If you can't tell, I like chicken. From those three are my favorites. But the menu is always going to be changing. We don't want it to be the same thing always. We want people to have a reason to come down and try something new, but obviously keep those staples there so when you have a favorite, you can find it.
Yeah. Well, you said, Max, that you're an events guy. And I know that you guys have a special tailgate party coming up on September 27th. So can you talk to me about that event?
I tell you what, this event blew my mind last year when we did it. It's in partnership with the Laura Lee Foundation, which is a cancer benefit to that family. And they came to us. They've done it with Paddle Bar. But that event, to do those two things together and close off the street, put out the big screen for the games, the Ohio State game specifically, it's just amazing. We had so many people down there. There's cornhole tournaments all day. We play all the different games. We have the bar extended outside to a beer tent. They bring in a band as well. Later in the day, I think this one's going to be before the Ohio State game. I have to double check. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure what time the game is. Yeah, they're at Washington, though, so it's likely a later game.
It should be at least a 3:30 game. Yeah. And so, food trucks were there last year. I would say there was probably about 1,000 people that attended inside or outside last year at some point. It was amazing. We're excited. We're doing it just as big, if not bigger this year, more organized and a lot more space too, because we have Archie's and the downstairs. So anybody that wants to come, we're going to be working our butts off for everybody to have a great time that day, because it's always fun to do a little block party.
That's really cool. Is there an admission charge to come on the block, or is it how are you raising the funds through the sales?
So they do a silent auction out front under their tents, and that's where they raise most of their funds. There's a couple other events that they put on during the day that help do anything for that foundation. We operate ourselves just extended outside, trying to do what we do, and then we give back to them as well from that day. And so, anything to benefit a good cause while having fun is always a good time.
And you guys have done a lot of special events around like former Buckeyes players or Browns players or things like that, where you've brought some celebrities to town. Anything like that coming up? Not
on the schedule. So that is something that we typically work with. One of them was specifically Great Lakes, and they have connections with the Cavs and the sports teams because they're up there in Cleveland and they do all that. So typically, they start to schedule stuff like that with us. It'll probably be on the talks again after this tailgate gets done. And you just never know who you're going to see. Honestly, they have great connections. And so when we had Braxton Miller here for one of the games, that was amazing. The Cavs event, they brought in Ahmad and the girls and the mascot, and that was an amazing event with
Sir Cece. Sir Cece was there.
He was in Campy, the Hall of Famer, and so it's just amazing what we can do in some of these days when we partner with people. It's so great to be a big enough space to do something like that, and there will be more. We always talk about it every day. We have a lot going on when we're setting up all these leagues and everything. So once October comes, it's game on for us. We have tons of corporate events, tons of football days, and so we just keep going from now till probably April, March for sure.
Yeah. Well, as a business owner, what's been kind of the biggest challenge that you've come across?
I would just say the sheer size of what we do sometimes, it's a good challenge to have, is that, we're a big space, so we stay open almost every day. We close a couple Mondays or so, and family holidays, of course, because we're a family-oriented place. And one of the biggest challenges is just that we can be really, really busy, or we can be really slow, because not everybody can spend their money on a Monday. But it's always fun, and it's the challenge is to prepare for those days, because you don't know what you're going to see, but then when it happens, it happens fast and quick, and we try to take care of everybody as best as we can, because there's only so many days in Sandusky that you can come out and have a good time like that.
So I think I already know the answer to this one because you kind of alluded to it. But when you're not running the place, what's your favorite game or simulator to play on there?
I am a golfer, so I will. I'm a golfer. I tell you what, though, having a group playing the darts is probably one of the most fun because everybody can do it. Not everybody's a good golfer, and the racing is probably the newest thing that people aren't used to. Mm-hmm. But when you get on the same track and you're racing with other people and you can talk to them because they're behind you in another seat, that gets really cool too. So obviously I'll say the golf because it's my favorite. I try to do anything competitional on there, but it's all simulated golf, so it's tough because a lot of people are really, I want to see what happens outside. Well, it's still a game, so.
I will say what I was surprised about, we had our company Christmas party there, I think 2 Christmases ago. Yeah. And I was rather surprised at how competitive tabletop shuffleboard got. That was really fun.
We are still in the talks of doing more of them because, again, that's a 4 to 6 person thing, maybe 8 if you're sharing. We had 2 of them side by side before, and everybody can do shuffleboard. And when you start to hear people get competitive with the shuffleboard, it's probably the most funny because you just never know. I mean, shuffleboard's such an old game, and it's perfect. Sometimes you have a 24-foot one. Sometimes we have 12-foot ones, and it's a heck of a lot of fun because it's, again, something everybody can do. I mean, you could be 10 out there facing your parents and be better than them. So
I think we had a tournament. We did it like Sweet 16 style, and
hey,
team versus team.
if I get more shuffleboards and they're all next to each other, you best believe I'll be doing leagues or tournaments with that too. So competitive nature, that's what we do here. I mean, that's what we're about. It's having fun, being competitive, and playing these games to keep people having fun.
And you've already, just since opening, expanded quite a bit, but do you have any future plans? Anything else you'd like to add?
The space is very large. This building is amazing. And as much as Sandusky will support us, we would love to do more. We have plans we would love to do, but you don't want to grow as a business owner. You don't want to grow too fast, too big. And you always want to keep people coming back for something new, but they still want to entertain with the old stuff that you have. So, yeah, we do have plans. I would love to share them all, but I don't know if I should. You never know who's listening.
Stay tuned. Just stay tuned.
I will say we probably won't do too many other bars in this space because we want to bar hop downtown. I don't want to keep everybody just in one place, and it's kind of hard to.
Oh, and you guys are part of we have a Dora district too. So
so walking around with your drink, going to the next bar, finishing it before you get there, obviously, because they need the next drink. But we would love to do a rooftop. Let's just put it that way. I don't know. Cool. I don't know where we're at with that, but the building's kind of hard to get everything up there, up or down. Honestly, we have the basement, and it's not very handicap friendly, honestly, and it's really hard and expensive to do some of the stuff in these old buildings.
There's a challenge, right, with an old building.
Yeah, that's it. That's another big challenge for the future is to have it all mapped out and see what we can actually accomplish.
Yeah.
It's been good. People are patient with us when they do have those type of events and need to have somebody that needs a little assistance down or up the stairs. I'm glad they are patient with us. We do obviously have the first floor handicap accessible off of the back area, and that's why we opened it first. We weren't worried about that. So.
Well, this has been awesome. I really appreciate you talking about your business and sharing your story with us. Where can people go to find, all of the information on Clubhouse No. 3 SportSocial? How do they reserve a bay? How do they schedule a group event? Where's the best place to go? Yeah,
Facebook and our website. We post a lot on Facebook because we find that most people utilize that for events and seeing what is going on. And our website will always be up and running. It's hard to keep that thing updated for as much as we do. And then we keep everybody updated on the day-to-day fun stuff on Instagram and TikTok. We utilize some videos there. But booking a bay on the website, booking an event, I love to quote and give people events, whether you're 30 people, 40 people, or 250, or we have, I think we even have a 400-person event in October. I'm closing down the whole place for us.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing to do. I love to see some of the conferences start coming down here, whether it's Sawmill or Kalahari. So you can book on there. You can go online, send us messages. I'm a pretty fast person to answer.
I was going to say, probably call you directly if you're planning a pretty big event, because I'm guessing your fee schedule for something like that is also probably pretty flexible. Whether it's a last minute, like you said, the team that got rained out of their, sports event, or something like you said that you're planning farther ahead for a corporate event. You've whether there's going to be food involved or, any of that. I'm sure you can partner with Archie's.
Yes, that's why we do events the way we do. Everybody will always ask what's the hourly fee or something like that, so they know. But ultimately, I try to cater to everybody, whether it's a birthday party, a corporate event. There's so many other questions, the bar tab and everything like that, the food that you're going to get. I want to give something to everybody, but we are very, very booked up already all the way to December. We have Christmas parties every single day, it feels like, but it's great.
That's a good problem to have, right?
That's what you want as a business owner. So,
are there any events coming up besides the tailgate party?
Nothing event-wise besides the football, Ohio State games. We always try to do something. The Browns games, if they start winning, you can cheer for another team like I do. I will say the team that I cheer for just beat the Browns. So, but the main thing is October starts the leagues and tournaments. So if anybody's listening to this and they have any interest or know somebody that is interested in darts, golf, racing, it's all on the website, or contact us immediately and we'll get you signed up for a league. That way you're in it for at least 10 weeks. And then we do another session in January. So there's 2 opportunities there.
That's very cool. What's the website URL, Max?
ClubhouseNO3.com.
Perfect. Anything else to add?
Honestly, no, this has been great. I'm glad you worked with me to do this. And I'm always glad to inform people in any way about Clubhouse, because it is really a hidden gem. It's amazing how many people still haven't been here and or don't find it because we're hidden in this big old building.
Agreed. Right. I mean, and you're literally right down the street from Shores and Islands Welcome Center. We're happy to send folks down there. Like I said, when you're looking for something to do, especially on a rainy day or a winter day.
Yes. Or the summer days.
Of course. You got air conditioning.
We do.
Gotta love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. I really appreciate it, Max.
Yeah. Thank you, Jill.
Special thanks to Maxx Tamburino of Clubhouse No. 3 SportSocial for joining us. And as always, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss a minute of the action here in Shores and Islands, Ohio. You can also find more information, including past episodes of the podcast, online at shoresandislands.com. We'll see you next time on The Shoreline.